Hi. Hello, happy day, happy life, happy journey, happy everything. Um, it's interesting to say that. Interesting to say happy everything um, in the midst of everything that's going on. So I'm really glad to be here. Guess what? Where I am is back in Los Angeles. I just arrived. I just flew in from Costa Rica, and boy, are my arms tired. Hoi! a little borscht belt humor for you. So welcome everybody as your Dorota, mi hermana. Hello, hello. Great to see you. Um, so just welcoming everybody. Thank you all for joining. And I'm super excited to be here in Los Angeles. And I'm missing Costa Rica already. And yet, isn't that really the point? Um, is that right where we are? Hey, Colette. Hey, Donna from Calgary. I love that you love them. Thank you. It makes my life so happy. And Debbie, hello, beautiful soul to you. Wow, the gang is back. The gang is back in town. So we were talking about being here, right? Being here in Los Angeles and missing Jessica. Great to see you. Missing Costa Rica and yet being happy where you're at, right? And so that was kind of the idea of the talk today. The right time for making whoopee. Remember that song? Because the nighttime is the right time for making whoopee. So what kind of whoopee are we making, right? That's really it. Mia, great to see you. Um, so we're kind of expanding the definition of whoopee, right? Because I think in the original, it was a little chaka chaka. And really, we're talking about the exuberance and joy for living, this gratitude for life just as it is. One of the biggest things that I've seen recently, well, let me back up. Spiritual principle is always simple. I remember being at Agape for the first time and hearing something like, life is good. Um, and and or that there's no time like the present, right? These great spiritual truths that are so dense, right? And or as above, so below, right? They seem so simple. It's like, yeah, I understand that. But the beautiful thing about these truths is that they're so dense that as we grow and expand in our understanding and awareness, our understanding of them deepens. It is a process of something that happens through time. So, yeah, we're going to make some whoopee. And whoopee, meaning we're going to be in love. We're going to make love to life, baby. We're going to be in the open and receptive state to receive the blessings that it is the good pleasure of the Father to give to us, the Father and the Mother, the great mystical energy. So the idea of the right time for making whoopee is that the now time is the right time. That there's no moment but the present, no matter what is happening, no matter what the appearance is. I think I shared the other day, and it's worth sharing again. I was in a ceremony at some time, and it was a miserable ceremony. I was purging, unable to do anything but breathe and purge for hours and hours and hours. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Sarah. Um, and all I wanted it to do is be over. I just want this to be over. When is this going to be over? Right? I was thinking about the after period. And Lindsay, hey, sister. Um, and and somehow in the moment, this idea right here, right now came to me that even in the midst of this discomfort, even in the midst of this, I knew that something good was happening, right? When you're purging, you are releasing, and I was releasing some deep tentacles that had been inside of me, right? That I was releasing, and it was painful. But how do we go through that process? I could resist it. I could be just wanting it to be over, and then every breath, every moment, every purge would be agony. Or, hey, Sarah, or could I be present to it? Could I even be present in the discomfort? And to realize that there's no other moment, that we're not breathing in the future, we're not breathing in the past, we're breathing now. The past is nostalgic memory, and the future is a fantasy that hasn't yet occurred. All we have is right now, and all of our access to any power is in the now moment. For the presence and the power are expressing now. So, can we take in whatever we are experiencing, COVID, protests, racial injustice, inequality, gender inequality, all of the vicissitudes and percussive experiences of life, we can resist them, we can rail against them, or we can be present to them, to allow something to emerge. We don't know what that is. That's the magic of the present moment. So we anchor ourselves right here and right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. It's a great mantra. And in that moment that we can anchor ourselves in the present, access to the eternal now is available. And the eternal now is where infinite possibility exists. For each moment is bright with infinite potential. Each moment is full to overflowing with every possibility. And when I am in resistance to it, when I am wanting it to be over, when I just want to get through it, I'm not able to fully receive the blessing that is coming in this moment. That is really how often in life do we just seek to get through it? Let me just get through this day. Let me just get through this workout. Let me just get through this conversation. Let me just get through this meeting. Oh, I remember times in my life when I was using all sorts of non-spiritual drugs, using a lot of cocaine, using a lot of, years ago, in the nightclub, when I was running nightclubs and working in the restaurant business. It was just part of the deal. Didn't have to be, but I chose it to be that. And I'm grateful for all those experiences, because if I remember one thing, is I remember just getting through the day. I was exhausted, right? And let me just get through this day. Oh, what an unfortunate way to go through life. Missing the infinite possibilities that exist in the now moment. This is the wisdom of the right time to make Whoopi, because every moment is full of infinite potential, bright and full to overflowing, pressed down and overflowing. How can we as individuals come to that recognition and then harness to be an open space for that divine influx to move through us? How can we receive the blessings that are being poured down upon us in the now moment? For it is everywhere present. Everywhere present. We have only to open ourselves up to it. For goodness, joy, abundance, power, peace, harmony, balance, excellence, creativity all exist in the now moment, and are only suppressed by limited perception. And when I am in resistance, and when I am just trying to get through, as Anthony said, survival mode, then I am not open to receive. I'm not able to see. For these great qualities of the divine, God is everywhere present. And then the content, the answer to that, some people say, well, if God is everywhere present, why do these bad things happen? For love and beauty are present everywhere, only where they are being suppressed by limited perception. So our job is to really open up our perceptual windows to receive that which is being showered upon us every moment. And we do that by becoming present. We do that by anchoring ourselves in the body through breath, through mantras, through affirmations, through our spiritual practices, through working with individuals who are in agreement with us, that we raise ourselves above confusion. This is our job. The right time for making whoopee is right now in this moment. There's no other moment but this present moment. And as we, take this insight off the mattress from ceremony and bring it into our lives, how often can we utilize this wisdom to not just get through this next meeting, or even like, oh, I don't want to go to this 4th of July thing. There's going to be people there that I'm not really interested in, and I don't even want to be around people because we shouldn't be, and all of that stuff. How about right here, right now? I'm not missing 1 second. I'm not missing 1 second. For everything is ordained by a higher power. It is seeking to express itself always, and we must open ourselves up to receive. How do we do that? Through our spiritual practices. How do we do that? Through our willingness, our yes. Everything is contained within our yes. Everything is contained within our willingness. Everything is contained within our availability, right? It is not our intelligence. It is not our technical skill. Those things are really great. They're from the intellect, and the intellect is brilliant when it's in service to the intuitive wisdom. So what trumps intellect, what trumps technical skill, what trumps all of our thinking about is our availability, not our intelligence, but our availability. For we of our own selves do nothing. We of our own selves do nothing. This is not a declaration of our inability. It is a recognition that we work and live and move and have our beingness in a lawful universe. I'm not holding my body in this chair right now. There is an invisible force called gravity that's working upon me. I have nothing to do with it. I am at its effect. Right? And if I open myself up to, I can rail against gravity. Oh, it's so heavy, it's pulling me down. Or I can shift my awareness and come to an understanding that there is an invisible force that is working upon me, and that I can work with it and gain power in that. Is the same thing with the divine. It is the same thing with our intelligence and wisdom. It is the same thing with the infinite power that has the power to spin planets without human compulsion. That power is available to us right now. Can I be available? Can I be willing? What is my yes? My yes, this is where we gain our power. And in our recognition that it is not I, but the Father within. It is not I, but the divine wisdom and intelligence within that does the work. When I am the generator of it, we can do great things. Our ego is powerful. But when we come up against these moments in life, when we are when we are finally, our hands are up in the air and our back is against the wall. We've all had those moments. Those are truly transformational moments, because we stop relying on our ego, on our little s self, and rely on a power that is greater and higher than us, like the invisible power of gravity. And we might as well acknowledge that it's the invisible power of the divine that is moving through us, this beautiful energy that is moving and having its beingness within us. So I'm so grateful to stop in this recognition. I want to take a moment and read to you something about this from Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes is, thank you, Jessica. Ernest Holmes is a great mystic and a great teacher. And I feel very connected with him. He's very present in the astrals. And he writes today, this is today's reading from Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind 365. He says, I am strong with the power of God. Now, if God is a phrase that triggers you, realize that we are not talking about an anthropomorphic man in the sky with a flowing white beard. We are talking about a presence that is the all in all, that is beyond words, beyond, no word can contain it. It is outside of time and space, outside of anything that we can conceive of. this presence, this power, this energy that is the motivating and activating force everywhere in life. This is the power of God. This is what we talk about when we say God. So you could say the universe, you could say the presence, you could say the energy, you could say the divine mind, the one source, the prime mover, whatever you want to call it. It's a power, and it's moving through us. And yes, look into Ernest Holmes. He's amazing. So he says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. For there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained by God. This is from Romans chapter 13, verse 1. And then Ernest Holmes writes, the Bible tells us that the powers that are ordained of God, that the powers that be are ordained of God. And since God exists everywhere, the power of God is wherever we recognize it. Not only all the presence, but all the power. This is important. Remember, like the power of God, that presence of beauty and love and intelligence are always seeking to express themselves and only suppressed by limited perception. So he says the power is available only where we recognize it. It cannot express unless we recognize it. It's like if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a noise? According to this, no, because there's nobody there to recognize it. Sound is a vibration and requires a receiver to be realized, to be recognized. The presence and the power of God are constantly expressing all the beauty, all the abundance, all the joy, all the harmony, all the peace, all the creativity, all the excellence, but only when it can be recognized. We must recognize it in order to communicate and receive. That is our availability. That is our yes. And we have no power, he writes, of ourselves, as if we were separate entities. Therefore, we say with the psalmist that our strength cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Now, replace Lord here with law. Lord means law. So our strength and power come from the lawful universe, which we move and have our beingness in. This power that made all of existence is available to us, and what we really do is use this power greater than ourselves, which power is our strength. But we are not that power. Of our own selves we can do nothing. He writes, nor of ourselves do we even hold our bodies in place. Rather, we rely on the power of the gravitational force that operates upon us. In just such a manner, we are operated upon by spiritual powers that become our strength when we use them. It is in this sense that we are strong with the power of God and the only power there is. So this recognition that of my own self I do nothing, this is what relieves us from the egoic power of oh, I can't do that. I'm not good enough to do that. All of our not enoughness gets solved, gets resolved in a recognition that there's a power greater than us activating and acting upon us. And when we open ourselves to it, we welcome all of that power, and that we are strong in that sense, right? That I am not that power. But it is everything that I am. I am a part of it, and it is everything that I am. As I open up to that, it relieves me of the responsibility of having to be perfect. I can just be and allow something to move through me. I remember training as a practitioner. Practitioner is like a spiritual counselor. And I was trained by Reverend Michael at Agape and by beautiful Reverend Kathleen McNamara. And we were doing these mock sessions because we do private counseling sessions, right? That's one of the other things that I do is I see private clients. It's like counseling based on spiritual principle. So we were doing a mock session, right? And Reverend Kathleen said, I'm going to be your client and you're going to be the practitioner. And I thought, whoa, what could I teach my teacher? What could I possibly have to say in a session with someone who's teaching me? Well, that is exactly what we're talking about here. If I, of my own self, am the one, my ego, trying to teach Reverend Kathleen something, that's lower probability, right? That I might find something that she doesn't, quote, know. So I came to this realization right before that session that it's not me. It's not me. I heard those words. I of my own self do nothing. It is the power within. I and the Father are one. I and the great power of all of life, the great influx of divine intelligence are one. And I am not that, but it's moving through me. I get to be a vehicle for it to express. And when that happens, then we are catching a vision. We're catching something that's unforeseen, infinite possibility, unfold in the present moment. We can only do this right here, right now. The right time for making Whoopi is now, and I'm going to make Whoopi with the divine presence and allow it to have its way with me. In that session, I was talking, Reverend Kathleen presented what she wanted to have the session about. And as I sat there and listened, it was like something scattered across the outer edge of my awareness. And I could reach up and grab it and pull it down and ask a question. Bam, something was released. At the end of the session, she said, I wouldn't change a thing. And, that was perfect. And it wasn't me that was perfect. It was a perfect opening for the presence of the divine intelligence to move through me. This is our job as spiritual individuals, are to allow the presence to move through us, to be open and available. The right time for making Whoopi is right now, right here, right now. There's no escape. There's no escape. The wisdom is no escape. I can't get out of it. So I got to face it. I got to open up to it. I got to be present to it. And in allowing, in breathing, and anchoring myself in the present moment, something emerges through me, unforeseen. This is where my strength comes from. And recognizing that this strength, this power, this intelligence is perfect, it's complete, and it is ever present within me. Now I can walk through life with implicit confidence and faith that it is available right where I am. It's always available right where I am. And its action is in and through in everything that I am doing. This power is behind my every word and thought. The power is upholding and sustaining me in everything I do. If I walk with this realization that this power is going before me, preparing the way, then I can rest. I can rest in this power, in a calm and serene confidence, Ernest Holmes writes. With perfect trust and faith, I know that this power is good, it is constructive, it is activated by love, it is directed by divine intelligence, and I use it even in the simplest things in my life. Today, right now, I accept that all the power there is belongs to me. Can you accept that all the power, all the intelligence, all the wisdom, all the creativity, all of it belongs to you? Your yes factor, your availability factor anchors there. And then in joy and in gladness, we recognize this power. It is everywhere present, but we must recognize it. It is everywhere present, but we must accept it. It is everywhere present, but we have to open up and allow it to be realized through us. And we do that through our spiritual practices, through maintaining ourselves in high consciousness, by being around people that help us let the God times roll, baby. And therefore, today, we can be sustained and upheld by this power, by this infinite source of all of life. And we do so in peace and joy and wholeness. All right. Well, that, I think, is it. That there's a power, that there is a presence, and that we are a part of it. And it is everything that we are. Everything. And all we have to do is open up to it in this now moment. The right time for making Whoopi is right now. Let's make Whoopi all day long, a divine Whoopi, allowing this presence to move through us and have its way by recognizing in the now moment, right here, right now, there's no escape. I'm not trying to get through. I'm not trying to survive. I'm aware to this now moment, right here and right now, and allow something to speak and move through us in a powerful way. How good it is. Thank you all so much for joining today. I look forward to our continued conversation. We're going to have a great conversation on Monday on Conversations at 1 p.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live, Evolutionary Conversations. So check that out on Monday. It's going to be amazing. And I look forward to seeing you then. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend of liberation. Be liberated by knowing that I of myself do nothing. It's a liberating thought. It's a thought of freedom, freedom and liberation, that we are, that there is a power that's available to us that acts through us. And in the now moment, we have access to the infinite now, infinite possibility, bright with potential. So may your day be bright with potential. May you walk in unlimited sunshine on the path of infinite unfoldment. All right, peace and blessings, freedom and joy right now, and lots of whoopee, baby. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love and blessings. I'm trying to turn it off, but I can't. Can't quite seem to. There we go.